Welcome to Overwatch. This time we're going to talk about, well, theory and practice, notably around Sombra, but this kind of works for absolutely everyone in the game. Those of you who have been following the channel for a long time might remember that around the time the beta was closing, I decided to go and get good on Genji. I played him an absolute boatload but was struggling to make him work, for one simple reason. I was applying the theory that I knew about him incorrectly. I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't doing it. I see a lot of people kind of doing the same thing with Sombra. No major surprise, nobody has a concrete way of playing her just yet, but there's a few common mistakes that I'm seeing, as well as a lot of general confusion about just what she's for exactly. I used to do exactly the same with Genji until I realized I had the wrong mentality when playing him. So let's talk about the mentality needed for Sombra. To me, it's all about territory. As Sombra, you have a 15-second leash on the translocator and usually a health pack or two to keep yourself alive. Consider that zone yours and consider it belonging to your team. Whether it's near the front line or in their back line depends on what your team is trying to do at the time, if you're attacking or defending, where the next fight is going to be, and what their Sombra has taken away from you. That strategic layer is absolutely key. In the background there should be footage from a Watchpoint Gibraltar match where every time I left spawn I had a concrete plan in my mind of what I wanted to get done. Which health pack I was going to focus on, where their Widowmaker is, where's their healers, all of these things were in my consideration and I knew what I was going to do and how I was going to position myself to get it. The first time I left spawn, for example, I knew their Widowmaker was on the bridge and I wanted to take the health pack beneath the tunnel, as that would be important in the coming fight. Things don't go instantly to plan, but I'd still get myself in a solid position, and after that it becomes a struggle to get back to the front line after dying. PGR teams aren't that great at cooperation, go figure. But once in the hangar, my objectives shift dramatically. I want that health pack in the shuttle. It's a huge resource for the enemy team, so denying it is effectively dealing 75 damage every time one of their team tries to go for it. After that, I want to control their Widowmaker and pick things on the backline. The key is knowing the plan and acting on it. I've talked in the past a lot about the idea of having mini objectives every time you pick a hero, and Sombra is the hero that really does need this the most. In Ranked, you're going to want to communicate a huge amount with your team. X health pack is ours, we should fight near it. Y hero is wounded and he's over there. Z hero is dead or about to be dead, we have an opportunity. This is vital because Sombra herself isn't that good of a damage dealer. Her gun kills people slowly compared to most. A full clip in the head kills relatively easily, but enemies usually have a bit of time to react. In a straight 1 versus 1 fight against most offense and tank heroes, she will outright lose. She does okay kind of against McCree because she has a very slim model and is kind of hard to hit, but yeah, he's McCree, he doesn't really care. Jeff Kaplan, I believe, referred to her as an offensive support, and that's really what she is. If you want to kill people in the backline, pick Tracer or Genji. If you want to secure ground for your team and clean up on kills, pick Sombra. A few more things I've noticed. First, be very careful about wastefully using your translocator just to get around a bit faster. The cooldown on it is enough to give you issues. If you need it and don't have it, you are just done. Using it for pure mobility should be the exception, not the rule. For getting in, stealth, but remember that de-stealthing does have a voice cue. I found, very similar to TF2, de-stealthing farther away works wonders, but eventually I think people will be so trained to hear the voice line that you'll be lucky to get a huge amount out of it. Find somewhere quiet, grab a health pack, and then come in from the flank. Ideally, you want to put that feeling of, would somebody please kill that Tracer onto the enemy team, but more consistently and be less in their face. As a hero, Sombra is difficult, very difficult. Her ultimate is, for example, tricky to gauge in terms of power if you aren't focusing on an enemy Reinhardt barrier or the enemy team's sound barrier. It creates an opening, but not in the same way that, say, Blizzard would create an opening. You just have to hope that your team are good enough to notice or be in direct communication with them. The biggest issue with Sombra is her damage output. At the moment you're probably looking to pick up probably the bronze medal on damage dealt, with a high DPS and versatile primary DPS feeling in the main damage role, something like McCree, Soldier, maybe even Reaper if you're getting really close into the enemy team constantly. That to me is the struggling point. Where do you fit Sombra in the lineup? You could try running her, for example, with a very aggro dive comp. Winston, Genji, Sombra, for example, and try and set up somewhere the three of you can safely fight around. I don't really rate Sombra that well on defense. The extra healing she brings, for example, doesn't quite offset the damage loss. If you want healing and DPS, bring Soldier 76 instead. Still, in the coming nights I'm looking to stream a bit more, starting from 10 PM GMT, so 2 PM California, 11 PM European time. I'm pretty sure you guys can translate from there. Most nights I'll probably just be crunching on the PTR and testing stuff. Feel free to join me as I push to figure out this complicated hero. For now, I do want to quote the TF2 sniper. Sombra, uncharacteristically, has to be played like a professional. Not necessarily polite, but you want to be efficient and you want to have a plan to kill everyone you meet. No plan? Don't even bother. Toodles.